All right, it's week 26 with the Medtronic 770G. This week I'm going to do something a little different. For those of you who have been following along, you guys are aware of the issue that I was having about midweek through 24 with my 770G, and then how I had to go to manual mode for about 5 days and then switch back into auto mode to let the system time to reset. So I'm going to kind of touch on that just for a brief second. We're going to talk about what it was like to go from auto mode to manual mode, what it was like to go back from manual mode back to auto mode on a completely reset pump. Auto mode's algorithm, so to speak. It's not a new pump, but I just totally reset my algorithm. The learning that the pump had to do, what I did to try to help the pump with that, to speed it along. It's been a full 7-day period since I started auto mode back. I did have several days that were frustrating, but I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through what I've done to help auto mode, and I feel like by the end of this coming week I should be back to my 100% time and range numbers that I was having before the issue got started. So let's stick around, or you guys stick around, and I'll go over everything. Guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button right there in the bottom right hand corner. That'll take you straight to the page where you can subscribe to the channel. And once you do that, don't forget to hit that bell icon so that way you can stay up to date with notifications for when I release new videos. So let's get started with this week's video. So if you haven't already watched the previous 2 weeks, week 24 and week 25, I suggest that you do so. But just to kind of recap, if you look at CareLink on your assessment and progress report, you'll get a list of reasons why your pump exited auto mode. This is available on the 670G and the 770G, or the 780G, I'm assuming, since they all three use SmartGuard's auto mode. Under that, you'll get a reason that says sensor algorithm underread. This was the issue that I was having. That had happened multiple times. So basically, the pump would get confused with what my blood sugar level was with the sensor, and it would kick me out of auto mode and put me into safe basal with the gray shield for a 2-hour period. And then if I didn't enter a BG within that 2 hours, it would kick me out of auto mode and I'd go back to manual mode. Well, the problem that I was having with this was that it would happen most likely during the night. And I do not have the auto mode BG alert turned on just to eliminate that alert. So I would get the gray shield, I'd be passed out asleep, and I wouldn't be able to correct this, and it would kick me out into manual mode. The next problem that I had was manual mode is set up for me to use about 150 to 200 units of insulin a day, not doing what I am currently on the keto diet. For those of you who haven't watched my diet channel or series, keep a check on that. Those videos are posted on Monday. So with the keto diet thus far, I've reduced my insulin consumption from about 150 units a day to around 50 units a day, depending on kind of what's going on. Some days are a little higher at right under 70, and some days are a little lower, below 40. It just kind of depends. So when I would get kicked into manual mode, I would start getting way too much insulin. Thankfully, I did not have any lows because of this. So I contacted my care team. My primarily pump trainer was on vacation, so she sent me to her partner. He sent me to their clinic coordinator, which is their boss, and she helped me out. So we kind of discussed what was going on. She believed that the pump was confused, and that's why I was having that error. I had tried multiple times myself to, give the pump a day or two and it'll correct itself, and that wasn't working. So she recommended that I turn off auto mode for about 4 to 6 days to let the system fully reset the algorithm while I'm in manual mode, and then I'll start auto mode again. So I started manual mode on Wednesday after lunch of 1 week, of week 24, and I exited manual mode, went back to auto mode Sunday night. So I had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 good days in manual mode, and then a half a day on Wednesday. So with my time in manual mode, first of all, manual mode wasn't as frustrating as I thought. It was really easy. I set up my pump. I talked in week 24 how to calculate what basal rates auto mode is giving you, and how to divide that by the 24 hours a day to get a baseline basal rate for you if you had to make the transition back to manual mode. So that's in week 24 if you have any questions. So I set that up in my pump, and for the most part, manual mode was great, but I did run into a couple little areas I didn't like. So manual mode, I had suspend before load turned on, and I had a load setting of 80 for my blood glucose. Just because I'm on the keto diet, I did not want to bottom out, because most of the things I would use to treat my blood sugar, I can't have. So I set it as 80. The pump did very well at suspending before low around 100. Sometimes it was about 95. I never actually went below 80, which was amazing to me. I was really excited because it's the first time I've really been using suspend before low with the 770G. So it did amazing with that. The next problem that I had was if it did suspend before low, the pump only has a 2-hour window for your blood sugar to correct itself. So what that means is if my pump suspends before low at a glucose value of 95, it will stay suspended for 2 hours. If my blood sugar does not rise above, most of the time it started back basal about 110. If it does not rise to that point, or if it stays around 95, it's going to resume basal after 2 hours. Well, the problem with that is if you're low and it resumes basal, you're just going to go lower. Your sugar's just going to drop. So what I would do, this happened about 2 or 3 times over these couple days, I would just suspend the pump. Once it resumed, I would suspend the pump and keep a check on it every 30 minutes. And once it had my sugar had come up to about 110, 115, I would resume basal and I would be good. That was my one major complaint with manual mode. I know most people's sugars rise within a 2-hour period, but I had 2 good instances that I can remember where this didn't happen, so I had to suspend for about another 30 minutes to an hour just to get my sugar to come up. The next thing that I truly missed about auto mode and manual mode was if my sugar was slowly creeping up, there was no ramp up in insulin delivery to bring that back down. So I felt like because of this, I was doing more corrections in manual mode, which required me to use a little bit more insulin than I was in auto mode. So it wasn't anything too crazy. I saw about a 10% increase in insulin usage in manual mode on those days versus auto mode. So it wasn't the end of the world, but I did kind of notice that slight increase in insulin. So, and then that's kind of my things on manual mode. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit over to auto mode. So I started auto mode back Sunday night once I started a new sensor. When I started auto mode back, I was working a night shift, or excuse me, not a night shift, a morning shift. So I would get up at 2:30 a.m. Central Time, and I'd have to be at work at 3:50 a.m. Central Time. And my work shift was 3:50 a.m. to 1:50 p.m. That was my 10 hours. And then since I was doing that, I was also trying to fast most of that, so I wouldn't eat till after 5 p.m. in the afternoons. So that kind of gives you an idea of how my food and stuff was going for the week. So when I would wake up in the mornings, my sugar in auto mode was about 160, 175, somewhere in there, a little elevated, not necessarily where I'd like it to be. I disconnect my pump, take my shower, get ready for work, stuff like that. With that disconnection while I was in my shower, my sugar would rise. So the highest I believe it got was 220 on one day. So what I would do is when it would reach that 200 limit, I would go in the pump, enter the BG reading of 200, take the correction. It was typically very small, 1 unit, 2 units. I think the highest one that I saw was 2.5 units. Take the correction. I'll let my active insulin get all the way back down to 0. If my sugar was still elevated in the 200s, I would do another correction. By doing this, you're not entering fake carbs. You're just taking the insulin to lower your blood sugar. The pump is learning, okay, I can give this user more insulin and it's not going to be an issue. So by doing that over the first week, I have fixed that issue. Then, fast forward a couple hours in the morning, I'm not eating because I'm fasting. the pump, my sugar would come down and the pump would maintain my sugar where I would want it to be, around 120. It would stay constant till the afternoon. I would eat, bolus if I need to, and go on about my day. Then the same process would happen the next morning. My sugar would rise in the mornings when I'm waking up and get going, and then I have to do those corrections. Don't enter fake carbs. If you're not eating, do not enter carbs. The way the pump looks at it is, oh, you're eating, I'm going to give you this bolus, but then I'm not going to give you any micro boluses throughout this certain time window, so that way it doesn't cause your blood sugar to drop out so quickly. So if you just do the corrections, the pump will not wait as long before it gives you the micro boluses back. So let me pull up my CareLink reports over here for a daily overview, and I can tell you, as the days went through the week, auto mode slowly started to increase more insulin. So let me get that together for you guys. Okay, so here is Monday morning, June 14th. As you guys can see, when I start to wake up in the morning around 3 a.m., the sugar would spike, 207. That's the actual, this is when I did my calibration. And then once I had gotten to work later, I took a correction here. Then about 2 hours later, my sugar was still elevated. I took my sensor value of 211 and entered that into the pump, and then took a correction. Then I did the same thing around 7 a.m. and I took a correction. But as you can see down here, this is what auto mode is doing. I'm about 2 to 3 units of insulin is the max that auto mode does on Monday. To show you the rest of Monday, you can see as I was fasting, my sugars did really good. I did another calibration here in the afternoon. And then this is about the time I ate. It rose up a little bit, and that continued on into Tuesday. So this high on Tuesday could have partially been my fault. So let's come back down to Tuesday. So see, now we're up closer to 3 on Tuesday. We still have elevated sugars. I do my corrections, the same thing. You see those corrections there. Then my 111. And then here I ate. So see the difference in auto mode when I do the correction versus when I bolus for food. So when you bolus for food, it's going to stop those micro boluses for enough time for this insulin to stop working. See how that sways down there? So there's the difference. If you do the correction, you're going to keep your micro boluses. If you just program in fake carbs, you're going to lose insulin, which is not going to help you too much to get your sugar back down. So then as things continue, so then let's move over to Wednesday. Ooh, excuse me, I went to a different day. So Wednesday, similar, but you can see my auto boluses is now above 3. I'm between 3 and 4. So auto mode is starting to learn me and what I need. I've got those couple corrections there, and I'm still keeping that maximum insulin delivery while I have those corrections. Versus later on in the day, when I eat, you don't get as much of that insulin delivery. So on to Thursday. So now we're about 4 units consistently. We got those micro boluses again for corrections, and there's still the micro boluses there. And then we have more corrections or carbs entered, and then go. So all in all, let me escape out of this so I can scroll. So all in all, the beginning of the week, I was at about 59% time in range. Then I went up to almost 80, then 66, 68, 82%, 74, and then 84%. Saturday, you guys, this is a good day considering what I did. Most of these little boluses, I was actually munching and grazing on foods. So that's that. I should have done better, but Saturday was kind of a cheat day for me on my diet. But then kind of show you 84% time in range for Sunday, which was yesterday. And you can see that the data cuts off shortly after 9 p.m., which is when my pump auto syncs to CareLink. So I hope that kind of helps visualize why you shouldn't enter in fake carbs. I didn't realize that data was so visible there when I was preparing for this video, so I'm kind of excited that was there for you guys to see. You can also see how the 770G is very quick to ramp up insulin for the user. My time in range, like I said, is dramatically improved over the past 7 days. Just getting back into the habit of the pump and what the pump needs and what I need, and all of that kind of working together. I do believe by the end of this coming week, I will be back at 100% time in range, at least for 1 or 2 days of the week. And then as the time goes further in advance and the pump continues to learn what I need and sets its internal limits in its algorithm, I'll be able to get 100% time in range more. I hope this video kind of helps everybody. I think it'll be really useful for people who are wanting to start on auto mode, or if you did manual mode and you had a bad experience with auto mode and you want to try it again. I think it could be very helpful. Or if something happens and you damage your pump and you have to get a new one and you want to get back into auto mode as fast as possible, you can start this and work with it. You got to be patient though, because the pump is definitely, it's not going to happen overnight. You know, you got to remember that these devices are designed to help everybody. It's not a one size, it's a one size fits all that is not customized to all of us. So we have to be patient, but a little bit of work put in can definitely return a good outcome for you if you want auto mode and you like what it does. So I hope everybody enjoys this video. I am going to insert a little puppy blooper here at the end for you guys to kind of watch and laugh at, because this is take 3 of this video between her causing a ruckus and making noise in the background. So I hope you guys enjoy and this helps you, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye. I'm trying to make a video and you're being a problem. Can you be quiet? Don't talk back. Don't talk back to me. Hey. Calm down. Calm down.